Hello, my guest today is no other than someone who's from a royal, regal background, a lot of legacy behind him, and yet he's so simple, humble, and stylish. I met him 5 or 7 years back at a party in Calcutta at a sit down dinner, and there were so many big industrialists there, but he was simple, unassuming, and humble, and quietly was eating his dinner. But yet, when I noticed him, I saw that this person has a lot of style, elegance, poise, and also sophistication. And I knew and I made out he was from a Khandani family. At that time, I did not know who he was, and later I got to know his name was Siddharth Kasliwal. Siddharth is from the family of the old time jewelers from 1852 and the son of Monu Kasliwal, who owns the legacy and runs the brand the Gem Palace. The Gem Palace has had retail stores across all over India for the last 15-20 years, and now of course their flagship store is in Jaipur. They have been supplying and giving beautiful jewelry to some of the most leading personalities around the world. They have given the best jewelry and the most timeless pieces to some of the most prestigious personalities around the world, be it Jacqueline Kennedy, Princess Diana, Nicole Kidman, just to name a few, and many, many more. You could also see that despite of having such an elite clientele and his distinguished guest list, he still doesn't ever talk about it. He doesn't mention anyone's name, he doesn't talk about his legacy or the talent and culture he has. He's always been known to be the little Maharaja of the jewelry world. He has made India proud by displaying his jewelry at some of the best museums at the Kremlin, at the Metropolitan Museum, and many others. Let me introduce to you my guest today, Siddharth Kasliwal. Hi Siddharth, how are you?
Hi Angie, thank you for having me here.
And I hope you liked the introduction I gave you.
Loved it. You were too kind with your words.
No, I really mean it, because when I did see you in Calcutta at that dinner, and you were very quiet, you were eating your food, everyone was always bragging and showing off and talking all these things, but you were very quiet, understated. And when I got to speak to you, I realized that you were from such a good family and with so much heritage, culture, but you didn't feel the need to talk about it. And that's what really attracted me to you as a person. And then later I came to meet you and I saw your store and your legacy, and everyone will knows about it and get to see in the coming future and in our interview right now. So tell me, Siddharth, you've been doing in the business now for how long?
Well, I started learning with my dad since the age of 7, or I would say 9.
7.
My dad used to take me to New York, and instead of going to Times Square and going to see Statue of Liberty, I would accompany him to see emeralds and rubies and diamonds in the Diamond District.
Right.
So since a
That's 46th Street, right?
47th Street.
47. Because I studied in New York and I remember that was the street there.
Yes. It's from 45th till 48th Street.
Yes.
So that's called the Diamond District of Manhattan. So from a very young age, I was exposed to all the gemstones and the legacy of the family. It was pretty much embedded in your day-to-day activities, seeing the clients, meeting the royalties, the celebrities at that time. It's interesting what you said about, that one doesn't need to speak much where they're from. It is because I believe it's all about feeling secured. When you feel secured and you don't have any insecurities around you, you don't need to make too much noise. Your presence speaks for it, and I believe I was very blessed to be born in this legacy and this family. And growing up with my dad, I saw this calmness in him, and I knew that he's not out there to prove to people and to name drop that this person and that person and I'm this. His work spoke.
Yes.
The volumes of it, and probably seeing that, I never
felt the need
that I need to go and introduce myself as the Gem Palace. Yes, of course, when it comes up, then I'm very proud to say I'm from the Gem Palace family and working with the family.
Yes.
So I would say, going back to your original question, from 7 till 10 or 11 till the time you get into the higher studies.
Right.
When it was more relaxed, I could spend more and more time with my dad, even going to the Brazilian mines, even as a teenager. And so that was my first introduction to the jewelry world. And I was very fascinated, not only what the business meant and seeing like millions of dollars of stones. At that age, I know kids get excited about numbers, but what really attracted me was the love and respect I saw people giving my dad, even in cities like Paris and New York, where, you know, obviously I'm talking about 90s, where there was a lot of like distinct, you know, the racism and
that time there was.
Yes. So when I saw that how much he was loved in the high society of New York and Paris, I understood it's not about that he's Gem Palace, it's about the person he is and how talented he is. And seeing that and growing up to that, he really set a really fine example about you know, what you need to be in life, that how people treat you, it should not be for what you have, but what you are.
What you are, yes. Yes, that's true. So that's what really, when I met you the first time, I thought that you were so humble, simple, and yet regal. So I knew you were from a good family and a Khandani family, but I didn't know who, where, what at that time. And what I really admire is that, you know, how you're taking India, not only your jewelry or your brand, Gem Palace, but also how you're positioning jewelry and Indian jewelry and old Indian jewelry, not the contemporary style necessarily globally. What I like, there are a lot of new jewelers, not taking names of course, who are like put their jewelry or give it to influencers or give it to fashion designers on ramps, but they're not positioning their brand according to me. I could be wrong. You're the best person to judge. Are not positioning themselves or positioning their jewelry as a luxury or a substantial, what do you say, Khandani, as you say, brand globally. What really I really like is that you have positioned your brand globally and in a new age way. It's, of course, your company has been there from 1852, but you've reinvented it, packaged it well, and you're taking it forward in a neoclassic way, and yet keeping the heritage and culture of Indian jewelry alive. So how have you managed to do that synergy? And you're so young, so how did you realize it was time to reinvent it, yet keep the culture and yet carry your family legacy and make India proud through this when you take part in shows and, you know, you have your international clients?
Yeah, so, you know, Angie, like you had mentioned, wearing the Indian flag, this is actually a brooch pin I made myself with using emeralds, diamonds and orange sapphires.
So that should tell everyone, all our parliamentarians, that's where they should come to buy the flag of India brooch from. Yes.
These are like, it's all set in gold. So, you know, it's not only about that. I seen my father growing up and my grandfather and my uncles, everyone in the family. We always be, you know, the word Gem Palace is not only about like promoting the company, it was about, they were the flag bearers of India, a very proud family from Jaipur.
Yes.
And showcasing the world, the art and craftsmanship of India.
Right.
The first opportunity that we got was back in 2000, and when Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York contacted my father, and we were the first, not only the first jewelers from India, but from Asia to be representing as a jewelry company in the Met.
Yes.
So it's interesting what you said, you know, back in 90s, I remember I was like probably in my teen years. It was always like French jewelers are amazing and Italian jewelers are amazing. That's the concept Americans had.
Yes.
And they never considered Indian jewelry to be the fine craftsmanship, because unfortunately what they were seeing in America was all the, you know, the factory produced, run of the mill jewelry that it's probably produced in Bombay and other places.
Yes.
And you can buy it on telemarketing or something like that. Was the impression Indian jewelry had in 90s. My father wanted to change that. He said even the Italian and the French jewelers made their jewelry in India, you know. And talking about 1920s and all, the final jewelry came out of India.
Yes.
So he took it as a personal challenge. He was like, I need to showcase that India, and as you can see, the media has it and all the thing, that he truly was the pioneer in his field to be representing India on a global level. Like nobody knew any Indian brand, but it was only
Gem
the
Palace.
Gem Palace that he and my uncles, like, you know, when it comes to doing anything, it's a completely a family effort. Nobody does it on their own. So everybody worked really hard. And right from 1950s, during my grandfather, when Jackie Kennedy came, and she visited Jaipur and Gem Palace, she was the first, and then Vogue America printed a picture of her in Jaipur with Maharani Gayatri Devi. So that's where the journey of Gem Palace started back in 1950s for the Americans, but they still considered it to be a snake charming country and like third world country as the people use that term.
Yes.
But this was the idea to change, and as you know, like the times have changed. India is
changed.
India is like
India's changed. We've all changed. Yes. No, so you have had the privilege and also the luck that all the foreign dignitaries, whether it were monarchs from Europe or Princess Diana or Jacqueline Kennedy and other heads of state who have always been buying your jewelry and have been customers of the Gem Palace, so they all knew about Gem Palace even before. They were aware, and like in the New York Times, you have several articles. At the Metropolitan Museum, your work has been showcased. But so you were always known. But again, it's about how we are positioning ourselves. Like today, we position ourselves as a superpower. So that's why my show Angie's India is about the stars. You're one of them who position India as a superpower globally in their sphere of business or whatever contribution, whether it's politics, business, what they have done. So how did you, from just being known as a very good brand for luxury jewelry, how did you position yourself as even a more affordable luxury brand, which I think is people know today that if they want affordable jewelry and the old world jewelry, they can come to Gem Palace, and yet if they want those masterpieces with the best quality emeralds or rubies, they still can come. How did you position that, and how did you take that forward globally?
Yeah, so see, I would say starting with sticking to our roots. We are very proud of our tradition and our heritage and how the jewelry pieces were made centuries ago. One of the things, Angie, that we did not, we were not confused about it, or we did not run away from the fact. The whole idea was that no matter like what people are doing, we followed we stuck to our grassroots. We stuck to like producing Indian jewelry. We were not in the in the herd race of like trying to copy Cartier, trying to copy all the Western.
You stuck to your style.
Yes.
And your identity.
And what is our style is like we are very proud Rajasthanis. Rajasthan as a state was built as a state for culture and excellence in any field of art.
Yes.
So using the traditional Kundan Meena, using the fine Meenakari work, hand cut stones. We don't use any machines. The whole idea that my dad always insisted, and my grandfather, and then my father, and even I tell my craftsmen, is we don't use any modern technology.
Oh, that's good.
We use still the techniques which were done centuries ago. The only modernization that we have is invention of electricity.
Okay.
And now it is done with an electric run thing, but it's still, the stones are cut by hand, and all the gold is done by hand. We don't use casting machines and all.
Okay.
So I believe to answer your question, we did stick to our roots. We did make jewelry like that, but we also made it accessible.
Yes.
You know,
that's what
like using the enamel, we made enamel chains and made them very modern and very contemporary for the New York ladies to wear it around
Right.
their t-shirt. There was
Right.
something called the t-shirt necklaces,
Yeah.
and my father insisted, all his friends who were like New York socialites and a few Hollywood actresses, was always like that to wear it on a black t-shirt. And he was the first person who actually started the trend of wearing your Kundan Meena Polki necklaces
Right.
just on a t-shirt, not on a lehenga.
Yes.
So, you know, it was just about positioning your product and
Yes.
how people carried it
Carried
and how
it
they
forward.
related to the
Yes.
product was the most important thing. And using that, like what he did, another thing was Mughal contemporary line, and that we still continue to do it at Gem Palace.
Yes.
Which is very interesting because it's all a traditional chan balis and matha tikka and bangles, but instead of using polki and colored stones, because you know that color of polki and gold with that shiny thing, the Western market finds it too flashy.
Too flashy.
So they're usually, so what we did is we used the similar designs but made it with semi-precious stones.
Okay.
And making them a lot more affordable. And a lot more accessible and versatile, and so you could wear it in charity benefit gala dinners. At the same time, you could wear it on a casual lunch in
Right.
New York.
Right.
So that was, I believe it's a measure. It's a marriage.
Yes, yeah. So that's what you've
Yes.
created. That's been your creation, or your dad passed it and you took it?
It was a like older generation. I continued, but I think so the credit can go to my father. He was the first one who was bold enough to do it.
To do it, yes.
And everybody told him, he's like, Munnu, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Nobody's going to buy an amethyst chan bali.
Yeah.
Because people don't relate. But guess
They
what?
did. They
Those
did.
were the earrings
Yeah.
that sold the first.
The burst at the
Met
maximum, yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So tell me, there's this new culture of lab-grown diamonds. What is your view on it, and what would you advise people on it? There
Well,
are
I
lots of
believe-
stories,
Yeah.
contradictory stories, but what do you feel coming from the best?
I would say, see, there's no contradictory story. It is, let's understand the facts and let's understand the logic behind the lab-grown diamonds. Lab-grown diamonds are very much like diamonds, right? They're natural diamonds and they're lab-grown diamonds. The composition is just the same. So what you are talking about lab-grown diamonds is that instead of us mining them and finding the natural diamonds, which has been created by Mother Earth
Yes.
for centuries, it's created by a man in a lab.
Okay.
So I believe,
it's like babies.
yes, it's been, yes, exactly. You can have like
Yes, yeah,
IVF and all. So,
Yeah.
so I truly believe there's a market for everything. What we would never put our hands in lab-grown diamond. That's not what we, because
Believe
it,
it,
yeah,
yes.
it takes away the whole romance. You know,
Yes.
it takes away the romance from it. The whole idea about somebody proposing to their girlfriend, and
Yes.
like a father giving a diamond necklace set
Yes.
to his daughter who's going to be a new bride.
Yes.
Man-made diamonds, and especially I can only talk on behalf of Indians. We Indians are very like, we are emotional. We are an emotional society. We really believe in like holding on to values and like what has been passed on from our grandparents to our parents to us. So there's a lot of like, it's not only about that what the value it holds, but a significant emotional value attached to it.
Right.
So that lab-grown diamonds will never have.
Yes, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
And I understand people prefer those for traveling and all because they don't want to be carrying the real diamonds. So for that I understand. But I believe there's space for everyone, and lab-grown diamonds may work in America, a bit in Europe. I don't see them working in India and Middle East and the places
Yes, the way real Jew people
yeah.
prefer real.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like, you're buying an original Rolex, or you're
Buying.
buying
Yes.
like an
So, how would you compare it to costume jewelry with lab? I mean, is it similar? Because today costume jewelry is quite expensive. Like a lot of people are buying this destination jewelry.
yeah. I mean,
I
see,
would never, but
yes, a lot of people are associating with the costume, or we call it imitation, or whatever the different words, which is it's different. Like I would say, a lot of brands like Chanel and Dior and all, they were all making costume jewelry, and now they've entered the fine jewelry market. So for that brand, you are paying that value, right?
Right.
You cannot justify the value to what the stones are being
right.
used and all. In that, we are a lot of people. There's 1.4 billion people.
Yeah. So there's each to their own, I guess.
Each to their own.
Yes.
But like I said, traditionally, I can only speak on behalf of my clients and the
Yes.
people we deal with. They are not the kinds who would touch lab grown or
Oh,
imitation
yes,
jewelry.
that's obvious.
They don't need to be opulent and spend hundreds and thousands of dollars. They could even have like a fun version of what we do. Doesn't necessarily have to be, could be like a few lakhs, but they resonate and they associate with us with
Yes.
the quality of craftsmanship.
of
And the
good
main important thing is that how passionately and patiently. There are two things I really believe: patience and passion. That is required in any luxury product.
Yes, that's
You
true.
cannot rush through it.
Yes.
Now this whole lab grown diamond is like you name it and they'll produce that much.
Yes.
There is no
Soul
thrill
in it,
behind
yeah,
There is
yeah.
no soul to it.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's my
That's
opinion.
your opinion on it. From when I talk to you, I see that your father meant a lot to you. He was your mentor. He was your friend.
Yes.
So it must have been a big shock and change in your life when he passed away.
Yeah, of course. My father was not only my guru, my mentor, the best teacher, at times not the most patient teacher, but
Yes.
that's all fathers are.
Yeah.
But he was also my best friend, and I started learning the trade with him for since I was I said 7-8 years, but I really got involved at the age of 18 when I still remember it was my 12th class board examinations, and you know how important they are in India. And this opportunity of working at the Met came in.
Okay.
And I spent 3 months with him in New York studying all the galleries of the Met, and that is exactly where my interest grew, because before that, as you can see with my profile, I love traveling, and I wanted to be a photojournalist. I wanted to be a travel journalist, and I
Okay.
wanted to capture the world through my lens.
Okay.
This is long before iPhones or
Okay.
anything had come, right? So
You still love photography? Yes.
I still do. I
Okay.
still do, but just don't get enough time to
Yeah.
actually take a point and shoot camera.
Right. Okay.
I play around on my iPhone.
Okay.
That's the modern day photography now.
That's true.
So that is where the interest happened with the Met, and at a very young age, it was great learning. And you never know what God has plans for you. I wanted to do all of this, and everybody told me, you have so much time, you can learn from your father anytime, and you never know what God has planned for you, right?
Yeah.
There was somewhere I think it was Woody Allen who said, and it's quite funny. He said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go to a business school, and I wanted to come back and join my family business when I was 30. But there was
At 30.
At 30, yeah.
Okay.
Like any other normal family that you
Yeah.
get your business
Yeah.
studies done and then you come and join.
Enjoy life a bit and then come back.
But life didn't have that
Plan for
plan
you.
for me, yeah.
Yeah.
So, one of his closest friends, he told me when I was applying for Columbia and all these business schools in New York, he said, son, beta, the best business school you can go to is your dad's right now, because he was 10 years older to my father, and he said, Munnu se main itni cheezein seekha hoon.
Yes.
I learned so much from your dad.
Yes.
So, and that really stuck with me, and I said, yeah man, I can
And that's what you did.
And that's what I did.
And you didn't know what was going to come.
Exactly. And at 27, he was unfortunately diagnosed with that terminal cancer, and we lost him in the span of 8 months.
Oh.
So obviously, it's not easy. It's not easy for any child to lose their parent, but this one was particularly very hard because it was a very painful kind of a disease with no what do you call it?
No way to, basically recover.
There was no chemo, nothing worked.
Oh, nothing worked.
So there was no treatment to it. There's still not, unfortunately, as far as we have progressed in life, there's still not.
Yeah.
But coming back to the thing, there are huge shoes to fill in. I was really put to a task this thing at 28. Really felt like like my life had become a movie. My younger brother was 10 years younger to me.
10 years
Yes.
younger. Okay, so you're like a father to him.
Very much so. He had just gotten an admission in St. Andrews.
Oh.
And I had to go and drop him within the 13 days
Of your father.
Oh. Passing away.
So you had this responsibility.
I had that, plus
your mom.
all the hundreds of people who work for us, they looked up to what's happening. My uncles were obviously there to support, but there was always like this thing that whether this guy would be able to do what Munuji did. And, so that constant pressure is there. It wasn't easy.
The legacy.
And I just kept on doing what I had to do. I just kept my head down. Like you said, humility and being humble. And I continued.
So my perception of you, the first meeting was absolutely correct, right?
I hope so.
Yes, you're saying it yourself.
So, and things started falling in place.
Yeah.
Just shortly after he passed away in 2012. In 2014, we did a show at the Kremlin with the Russian government.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
And it was a beautiful show, one of the best exquisite Indian jewelry show, and they had honored my father, given him special space in the Kremlin Museum.
Okay. And he was alive?
No, he wasn't. So that's what I'm saying. This was after
he passed.
So we did this, and it was actually the best of the best Indian jewelry that was there. And they had given us section to only 2 people. Another jeweler who I really admire is Mr. Viren Bhagat from Bombay, and it was a section called Modern Jewelers, Jewelers of Modern India, and they had done it, Munnu Kasliwal and Viren Bhagat.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I still remember looking at that huge banner of, it was called, the exhibition was called India, Jewels That Enchanted the World. And I still remember seeing my dad's name and tears rolling down my cheeks, seeing that, but at the same time felt this amazing sense of pride.
Pride that you executed.
Yes, and then this exhibition went through, and we were able to represent India on such
a large scale. Yes.
Yeah, and then after that, various exhibitions happened at the Met, and so
after that as well.
Yes,
which you did.
And then obviously after COVID, not much has happened.
Yes.
But we are quite active in the US and promoting the Indian arts and culture all around the world.
So when your father passed away, even I lost my father very young. I realized a lot of work pressure happens, family pressure happens, and responsibility comes. So how did you manage to balance all 3? Because you had this legacy to carry forward, you couldn't let it go. Everybody was looking at you. I'm sure they were your workers, your skilled workers, as well as your business contemporaries, as well as family. That would you be able to do it, or would you just be another party boy, just enjoying dad's, sorry to say, wealth and luxury? But you proved yourself.
You also do that.
You do a bit of. There's nothing wrong in enjoying life.
Nothing wrong using your family. Still, the time you are putting the family's
name, as long as the family's name is in perfect place.
What they said, duropyog, which means misuse of your family wealth.
Yes.
A little bit of partying here and there and enjoying and traveling.
Yes.
What good is life if you're not doing that?
Yes.
So I would never say, I'll never make myself a pity party that
No, you should. Why not?
Or what I did was just only work. No. till the time you have a good conscience and you know like what you're doing, and you're not risking your family's name by like going overboard and like with your partying or anything as such, yeah, there's no harm in enjoying life, right?
not
So
at
to
all.
answer your question, Angie, what I did was obviously I coped up with all the stress and everything by two things. It was travel and golf.
Okay. Yeah.
I love
Traveling,
golf
yeah.
and
Yes, traveling.
and I love traveling,
Okay.
but also traveling included a lot of work because I would go and I'll be invited by my clients to their homes. I'll do a lot of photography of architecture that
Yes.
that incorporates in our jewelry designs.
Okay.
I
that's
went to
interesting.
Uzbekistan, which is, you know, Samarkand is
Yes.
one of the
Yes.
origin of
Yeah,
the
culture,
Mughal
yes,
India,
yes.
and that's where. So I did some amazing things there. Turkey, a lot of places in Greece. When we did the Greek and Roman exhibition, I spent a lot of time in Greece. So it's I feel I'm blessed because, you know, if you can really you know, make your work play and you play at work, then it's
So,
like
that's the best
that's
combination.
the best combination.
Yes.
And if you do that, you know, that's what they say, that you won't feel you work the day of your life.
Yes, yes.
When you enjoy working
Joy,
so
when you
much.
enjoy and you're passionate about it. You don't take it as work, you just take it as enjoy.